when I first heard the brother Smith Bay out of Washington, D.C. say that you're not Negro, black, and colored, that stuck. And I've been going to the temple ever since. When I first come into the movement, this a brother invited me to the movement because I was radical. You know, when I say radical Moors, I always was 5'8". That's always been my size. I was about 140 pounds, and it didn't matter if you was 200 or 300 or if you was 6 foot. None of that stuff mattered to me. You know, I'm tackling you head on, and that's just how I was, because I was always the smallest thing. You'll meet some of my friends and brothers today, and if you hang around them, they'll tell you that, man, Eric, I didn't have a whole lot of problem because I'm coming first. And it's a brother, and I was really radical. I ain't gonna tell y'all what I did, but I did some stuff. And it's a brother used to always say, young brother, you heading for something that you ain't gonna appreciate. And he used to always bug me. And the brother say, man, come to the temple, and I would never go. And I finally asked him, I say, man, if I come to the temple, would you leave me alone? He said, man, if you come to the temple, I'll leave you alone. I went to the temple. And as I'm in the temple, this is a brother out of Washington, D.C. named Brother Smith Bay. He was the chairperson. He was chairing the meeting. And every time he would call the speaker up and they would talk, and then the Brother Smith Bay would get back up there and he would keep talking, and he'd call somebody else, and then he'd call Assistant Grand Sheik, and the Grand Sheik got up there, and then they closed out the meeting. When the meeting was over with, I went directly to that Brother Smith Bay, and I got on him about, you know, calling me and talking about me the way he was talking about me. You know, and I got on him, man, you know, and I'm like, I'm saying to myself, if he say anything out of line, I'm gonna bust him in his mouth. You know, this is my thinking, because he's sitting there, you don't know me, he's sitting there talking about me. And so me and him going back and forth, he's calm. This brother's, he's calm as can be. And then the Grand Sheik walks over and say, what's going on, brother? And I'm like, man, this joker don't know me up here talking about me. It's like so. And then the Grand Sheik calmed me down and said, brother, where you from? And I said, I'm from Texas. And he said, well, you know, Brother Smith Bay is from Washington, D.C. He's never been to Texas, so he don't know you. So when that brother was up there speaking, brother, he said, our plight is so similar to when he was up there talking about himself. And he said, I know he was talking about himself because me and Smith Bay been together for the last 10 years. He said, so when he was up there talking about himself, y'all mirror each other. And it just fits you, brother. And I calmed down. I went back to the unit. I picked up the phone, I called my children's mother, Yvette, and I asked her, I said, hey, can you get the birth certificates out? And she said, yes, she got the birth certificates out. And I said, what do they say? And she said that mine and hers said Negro, and that our children said black. So now I asked her, I said, can you go to my mom's house and get some birth certificates? She went to my mom's house, got my mom a birth certificate. I called her the next day, she got colored. My mama was a colored person. I've never missed another meeting. Why? Because I'm like, just that little point made me know that something wasn't right. That Negroes, blacks, and colored. I'm like, well, how can your mom be colored and your dad be colored, you be Negro and your woman be Negro, your children are black? How is that possible? And that started me on my quest. I don't do that if I don't follow what Allah has planned for me, because Allah put me somewhere for a purpose, you know. And I learned this. It took me 10 or 15 years to realize that you're here for a purpose, Russell here. So you gotta get this stuff. And I started whatever Noble Drew Ali says do, and I'm a stickler for what Noble Drew Ali says do. If he didn't say it, that ain't what it is. Russell Hill don't circumvent the law. He don't go around the law. And those that's around him know me, know that, no, we ain't gonna play with this movement. If you don't wanna be a part of this movement, then you need to move out. Now, if you wanna follow Noble Drew Ali, that's all right with me, but if you don't, you need to move out. I've been in the Moorish Temple ever since. We met Emmanuel Braswell Bay, and Emmanuel Braswell Bay, he opened these doors up, brothers. The reason why I'm here today, Emmanuel Braswell Bay, the Supreme Grand Sheik and Chairman of the Moorish Temple American, who's in the line of succession with Mili, it's the same line, you know, there's only one prophet and one temple. And Emmanuel Braswell Bay, the Supreme Grand Sheik and Chairman, he's in charge of that temple that the prophet left with Mili in 1928. He's in charge of that exact same temple. So if you want a better way, and then you join the Moorish Temple of America. This membership thing is easier than you think it is. You know, you just have to do what you're supposed to do, you know, what's required of you to become a better citizen. That's all we're working on. We're trying to become better citizens in the Moorish Temple of America. We're trying to become better citizens in America so that you and I can turn the way that people look at us around. Are we going to save everybody? Absolutely not. I mean, Jesus didn't save everybody. You know, Muhammad didn't save everybody. If Muhammad would have saved everybody, it wouldn't be Sunnis and Shiites. It'd just be those people that follow Muhammad. If Jesus would have saved everybody, it wouldn't be it just wouldn't be there. So Noble Drew Ali is telling you and I that teach these lessons to your loved ones, you know, that they may learn to love instead of hate. Our prophet preaches love. He don't preach nothing else. He don't preach selfishness. He don't teach hypocrisy. He don't teach inconsistency. That's not what Noble Drew Ali teaches. Noble Drew Ali teaches love, and that's all he teaches. I was a hateful person until I met Noble Drew Ali. I had so much hatred for me. I harmed others all the time. You know, I was a disrespectful individual. Now I respect mankind. Why? Because I didn't create mankind. I have no right to disrespect mankind. Why? I'm not the creator of mankind. I'm not even the creator of Russell Hill. And so I have no authority other than the authority that Allah gave me in this flesh. I have no authority. And I didn't know that I didn't have any authority until I met Noble Drew Ali. And if it wouldn't be for Brother Smith Bay in Washington, D.C., I think in 1990 or 91, who gave me some insight and sent me on my quest. You know, if it don't be for that brother, if it don't be for the older brother, I think his name was Brown Bay, and he was out of St. Louis. He's the one that used to always bug me. You know, they the ones that, hey, and this brother bugged me for whatever reason. I don't know. I didn't know him. I didn't fool with him. He just always would say, young brother, you need to stop. Young brother, you need to, young brother. And I'm like, man, and I'm being honest with you, I was thinking about doing something. I'm like, man, what is he? Is he this, that, or what's going on with this brother? So, you know, I give honors to all those brothers and sisters who helped me in getting here, because, you know, it looks like I made it on my own. I did make it on my own. You know, I did make the decision, but my decision to come here was based on what some other brother was talking about and teaching me. So I take no credit for where I'm at. You know, the only credit I can take is that I made a decision, you know, to become a member of the Moorish American. Man, that's the best decision I ever made in my life. This decision is better than anything I've ever did in my life. You know, language, I know how to talk to people. I know how to treat people. Noble Drew Ali told me all that. You know, everything that I am today because of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Without the Prophet, I mean, I'm just another black man. And another black man going nowhere. You know, because when you understand what the prophet did, we got a chapter called The Creation and Fall of Man. When you understand how the prophet explains to you in the creation and fall of man, how you come into play and who you are and what you're capable of, come on, man. I mean, Noble Drew Ali, man, thank you. You know, we say thank you, Noble Drew Ali, all the days of your life. And we say thank you, Allah, for having some mercy and some love for me. You know, I don't know what he did for other people. I'm saying having some mercy and some love for me to show me that, man, you better than who they telling you are. You know, you smarter than who they telling you are. Man, listen to this here, Russell Hill. Nobody can create you but you. Russell Hill, you can create everybody else, but nobody can create you. Brothers, I'm telling you that you can put two Chinese together and all they gonna get a Chinese. You take one of the Chinese out and put a brother in there, you got a brother coming. Yeah. Who can change races? Nobody. You know, and I'm not bragging or being facetious. You know, if you put a brother with a European, whether it's a man or a female, the child is gonna be a brother. I mean, the hair might be a little curly, but guess who it is? Can't nobody make me and you. And so then I'm saying that God created you and I first. And he gave me and you charge. And me and you failed because we started deluding after names and principles that deluded to something else. We started running after gods whom we knew nothing of. You know, we started looking for man-made gods and going and saying, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned, you know, instead of going within. Our people were the people, we are the founders of the first religious creed. Now, how many of you following something that don't mean nothing to me and you? We following things that don't uplift us. You know, and I ain't speaking right. I'm just saying we following things that don't uplift us. You know, we following things that allow for us to do anything. And then on Sunday, you go to church. I mean, I can do anything I want to do for the rest of the week. Long as I go to church on Sunday, all is forgiven. What kind of religion is that? In the Moorish Temple of America, I got to be righteous Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I got to be righteous 24 hours a day. I got to be righteous when I'm asleep. When I rise up, I got to rise up righteous with a righteous thought and a positive outlook. And I don't have no choice. Why? Because that's all the prophet teaches me. He teaches you about your higher self and your lower self. I've never heard that. He teaches me about truth and falsehood, about this carnal nature and what it's capable of. I've never heard this stuff. Nobody have, and I mean, I don't just have some high school, you know, I have some college. I ain't never heard this stuff before. I ain't never heard no professor say none of this stuff. None of this stuff that the prophet is teaching me, I've never heard in my life. None of it. I didn't know that I wasn't no Negro, black, and color. I would argue you down, just like some of our brothers, so-called blacks and so-called Negro, and so-called the new thing, the African American. They'll argue you down without reason. You know what it is? It's self-hatred. That, you know, a brother's trying to tell me something, and I ain't trying to hear it. If you go back to the 1700s, you'll find out that France, Portugal, Spain, Great Britain, and some of the brothers and sisters from over here, some of the Europeans from over here, they created a program, you know, for what the prophet is talking about in 1774. And they started way before the 1700s. You know, they started changing me and your thought process way before the 1700s. You know, they go in Africa and they convert you. You know, Europeans created the missionaries, and they created saying that a better way. Instead of you living this way, you come to Jesus and you can live a particular way. And it's Europeans that's doing it. You know, and we gonna just telling you what happened in history. We ain't being radical. We just telling you what happened in history. And then they convert you. You know what convert mean, right? There's a conversion going on. So they convert you from whatever you are to what they need you to be. And they showing you that being a Muslim is not productive. You know, it's not productive. So if you become a Christian, we're gonna, you know, get you some food and some water, and, you know, and you so happy for the food and the water and certain stuff, then, I mean, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get this food and this water. If you saying that I need to quit saying Allah and I need to start saying Jesus, then I'm gonna say Jesus. Now, don't misinterpret that. In the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, we follow Jesus, the example of Jesus, because the example of Jesus is who the prophet bought, but he bought us Jesus. You know, he bought us Jesus. You know, the Jesus that was born in Bethlehem. Y'all know what Bethlehem of Judah in the house of David? The Jesus that was born over there where we was born at, in the land of Canaan. You know, and because me and you are the true blood of Jesus. But they changed the complexion. You know, and they changed the complexion and they made him light and they stringed his hair down. And now everybody that you see that looks like Jesus, you think that you're supposed to bow down to this particular people. And that was their plan. And their plan worked. It worked to perfection. You know, I mean, we say, well, if it ain't white, it ain't right. Prophet says in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, white means purity. Purity means God. And God means the ruler of the land. And so we know that the Europeans is not the ruler of the land because they didn't create this out of nothing. Allah created this out of nothing. Now you can call Allah what you want to call it. You know, it's just God. You know, as a Muslim, we choose to say Allah. You know, some people say Jehovah. You know, the Jamaicans say Jah. You know, they call them different names. but he's the same. It's only one God, he's the same. So when I say Allah, don't automatically take that as when he a Muslim, he a Muslim. Well, I mean, that's just happened to be the truth. But Allah is a true, holy, and divine name of the Creator. It ain't the only name, but I'm saying, but according to the people, you know, they call him different things. You know, I mean, they send Confucius, they send Buddha, they send Muhammad, you know, and they send them to different places according to the people. And then you using it according to the language that you understand. You know, our language is our language. So our forefather was calling God Allah. You know, it's not an Arab thing. You know, Brussels, when it's Arab, no, it ain't. No, it ain't. The Arab is not as old as you think they are. You know, they just not. I mean, what Noble Drew Ali does is he takes you to the beginning and he lets you know who's who and when everybody come into play. We all came into play. It's just the thing about me and you is we came into play first. But we fell off. Why? Because we start straying after gods whom we knew nothing of. We start, you know, we like this. I mean, you know, Europeans, they come from us. Japanese, they come from us. The Chinese, everybody comes from us. And that don't make us a bad person, and that don't make us better than anybody. It just makes that the truth. You know, because if we saying that everything started in the Garden of Eden and it was just two people, and you saying that's all it was just two people. But when you go in the Bible, it says, and you got Adam and Eve. They have Cain and Abel. It's 4 people on the planet, right? You know, Cain knocks off his brother. And then he leaves. And he knew who his wife was. How? It ain't but 4 people. Now it's 3. And so the prophet teaches me to look, and you know, that man, look. Quit believing, quit listening, and look for yourself. Because it don't make no sense. How you went from 2 to 4 to 3 to everybody? They was in the Garden of Eden, which is in the land of Canaan, and in the city of Mecca. Y'all know where Mecca is. This is where man was created. And this is where man was created. And so that means if they was in this land, then that tells you Adam and Eve were not Europeans. So, man, you got to quit believing what the myth. I mean, you know, Christianity is good for the Christians. It's not good for all people. No, it's not. Islam is a simple faith. Islam means peace. Muslims are Muslims that's not living according to peace. It's not Muslims, a Muslim. A Muslim is someone who submits his will to do the will of God. And if I'm not doing the will of God, then I can't say I'm a Muslim. I need to quit perpetrating the fraud. That, you know, I'm saying I'm something that I'm not. I'm not a Muslim or a Muslim if I'm not submitting my will. If I'm causing confusion and chaos, then I'm not a Muslim. Why? Because my religion is Islamism. And Islamism is practicing peace. That means, you know, peace with self, peace with the universe, peace with Allah. And when you got those things, you got peace with everybody. And if there's some confusion in there, I mean, either I'm causing or you causing. And if you causing the confusion, then I have to disassociate myself with those who is fighting against the Creator. Because the Creator is where we come from, and that's where we're going, whether you like it or not. Just don't let them tell you that you're going to hell. Quit buying that one. There's no such thing.